Yeah, I don't need to see anybody's shins or legs at any point in any way, shape, or form. I guess, Kevin, are we recording?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Can I ask you guys a question before the show starts? A very personal one. Who is Amy? And who is Jen?
Hey, since we're such good friends, let's pretend like we're real good friends on this podcast. But first of all, I'm Amy, and this is Jen. Jen's
Okay, it doesn't matter for the podcast, but I just
it
thought
honestly
it was
doesn't matter in life either.
Doesn't? Are you guys always on one Zoom together?
A lot of times, like,
Yeah,
because we work from this
yeah.
office together, so it's like, and if we're not, it actually feels weird to be in the background and not on the call. I always feel like I have to be like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. No, that's great. So, Amy, Jen in blue.
Yes, Jen in blue.
Okay, I'm gonna forget that almost instantly, and you're
That's
right. It isn't gonna change much, but it's really great to meet you guys both, and we're excited that you guys are here, and it will be fun and painless, right, Kevin?
Yes,
absolutely.
3, 2, 1. Hello. How's that sound for a volume check, Kevin?
All right, you got to remember, just don't get too close into the mic.
Okay, Kevin, we have two very special guests on the Zoom with us today.
It's me,
Yes,
Jen.
Yes. Introduce yourselves. No. This is the part where we do the intro and you guys sit and pretend like you're not there, and then you say hello. Thanks for having us. Once I'm done, you ready, Kevin?
Yeah, let's do it.
Jennifer and Amy Hood are the co-founders and principals of Hoodzpah, a brand identity and design studio out of Southern California. They create brand identities that people root for and help legacy brands shine on. They may have a small studio approach, but they get big results. They've worked with companies you may have heard of like Target, Nike, Disney, Adobe, SeatGeek, and the Los Angeles Lakers, many, many more. But most importantly, they are number 6 on Creative Boom's most popular design studio as voted by their peers list, which we are not jealous about. Let's just set the record straight here, Kevin. We do not care about lists and we are not jealous, but number 6 is a pretty damn good place to be. And to be honest, we would like that. We would like to be included on that list maybe in the future, but we don't care and we're not jealous, but we are very excited because Hoodzpah is here. Welcome to the show, Jen and Amy.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Were you like a radio commercial guy in another life? Because that was like,
Absolutely
did you run the college radio station?
No, not at all. But that would be this is kind of like a college radio situation of this show front and
You're
center.
like, and
Definitely.
now Porno for Pyros playing. It's
Yes,
like,
yeah.
I feel like you have to go back to that certain level of alt rock. But
This is Blues Traveler.
Yeah,
You know,
oh my
that's
I love that you said that you're not jealous of our list, but look at all your awards. But your award,
yeah.
like it's like communication arts.
See, this is what I am jealous of. I want
They
a
keep going
statue.
too, just so you
Oh
know.
wow,
No,
pan.
I am.
You need a 360 pan to get it all.
That's right. And it's not something I work on with my therapist at all. Don't worry. It's,
No.
You know, it's
These things don't define me.
they do not define me. I'm more than a designer. That's true. I am a person. And no, thank you guys. We've been really excited to have you guys on. This has been months in the making.
Truly.
But
One of us would cancel and then the other of us would cancel. And this went on for months and months.
That's
and
true.
so the buildup has finally.
And it was really a
We did
power
it.
play to see who
I know. And
would
then
pay
the last time
first.
you canceled, but we were about to cancel. So
Oh, that's true.
I know.
Yeah. We
I
almost
felt, that made
canceled.
me feel better. Yeah, that made me
Yeah.
feel better.
Kevin, you know what it sounded like? It sounded like, well, we couldn't either, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry that you can't, but we actually couldn't either, it turns out.
It's funny that you can't make it because we couldn't make it either. No, what is always great is when one person cancels, that's you get one, and then the other person cancels, you get 2. But then if you have to then cancel again, you're a dick. That's
It's
when
so
you
embarrassing. I
cross
was like,
the
no,
yeah. So we were
Mhm.
kind of like, oh man, there's a meeting and I don't think we're going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of embarrassed and also felt
Same.
bad. And so
Yes.
when you guys did it, it was like, great, neither
oh,
could
good.
we.
They're the assholes.
yeah,
Oh,
look
good.
at us now. We're
Yeah.
here recording
No,
the
yeah, we look
podcast.
great.
We're
we
here.
took up the mantle.
We did it. How excited were you, honestly, to be on the Creative Boom list? Number 6 is really solid. Not that we care about lists. Yeah.
100%. But like as much as like you don't care because you're not on it and you can't. And,
And then when you're
it's
on
like
it-
it's a protective shield.
And then
But
when you're
when
Yeah,
you
on
make
I
the
don't care at
list-
all.
Yeah, we don't care at
I
all.
don't
But
care.
if I was number 6, I may have a number 6 tattoo. You know, I might
my
just.
gosh.
That's very
is-
exciting. Congratulations.
I do feel, well, thank you. And I do feel like it's like 13 years in the making. We've been in this industry for so long and it's such a slow grow. And at least we weren't like one of those like tech valuations that like is like worth so much out the gate first year and then like they just fail because they can't grow every year, you know? It's like I'd much rather start out like expectations are low and we continue to just kind of go a little bit above that every year, you know.
Well,
Right on.
Until we
congratulations.
make a
So
list.
it's well deserved. And there aren't enough there are a lot of award shows, but there's not enough lists of the best agencies that
We
we
need
can
more
all sort of point to.
listicles.
Yeah, we need more
Yeah.
lists and more competition here. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, it's incredibly well deserved. And number 6 is outstanding and in the company of some really amazing shops. So
So many good people on the list. Yeah.
and also another thing I think about, there's not many times in this profession where you get to celebrate or feel like
I
we did
know.
it. So
Yeah.
that's important.
We're
We were
kind of
talk-
like the gaffers of the industry. It's like you don't necessarily get a credit byline all the time. And it's
Mhm.
like, you're just happy that your client is succeeding and looking good and everyone's responding. So it is nice. Yeah. And what were you going to say?
Oh, nothing. But yeah, it's like the best boy, the buried,
Yeah,
the buried like byline. Yeah.
Catering.
Yeah. Catering.
Yeah.
Damn, so Hollywood.
Yeah, you guys are so Hollywood. Where exactly are you guys? Southern California is
So yes, we say Southern California strategically so that people assume Los Angeles, and
That's
that's
right.
convenient for
Mhm.
selling and pitching. But no, yeah, we're actually in Anaheim. We're like behind Disneyland.
Yeah, we're in the
Okay.
shadow of Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get all
and
those
then,
cool smells?
yeah, I know. Like I love the smell of the Indiana Jones ride and like Splash Mountain. Yeah, I know.
Just like
Fresh
bleach.
churros.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, yeah, but you can hear the fireworks every night, and
Oh,
it's like,
sweet.
Wow.
it sounds like bombs bursting in air, like
Mhm.
war on the horizon. But yeah, it's pretty cool
Nice.
actually.
It's nice.
That's amazing. And you guys are big Lakers fans. So how are we feeling right now? Time of recording, the team is 6-4 in the JJ Redick era. Bronny is playing for the South Bay Lakers, where he has put up a whopping 6 points in 31 minutes. How are we?
Poor
feeling?
Bronny. Oh my god, I'm just so
embarrassing.
glad he's out of the limelight. I'm like, leave the boy alone. Like poor LeBron put too much attention on him. It's like to require your team to like hire them, or you're gonna like go somewhere else and like throw a temper tantrum. I don't know. I just think that's so funny. But I do love LeBron. I love LeBron because he's on our team, and I love LeBron.
Yeah, what are you
But,
gonna do? Say no?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
What do you do,
of course.
not
It's
draft
like
Bronny?
yeah,
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
100%.
And he also hired like one of his best friends to coach, which means
But it
like
worked out.
he will not get coached. Do you know what I mean? Like it was a
Interesting.
strategic yeah.
I mean, to be fair, LeBron does not need to be coached. Everyone
No,
else around
true.
LeBron needs to be coached.
yes.
That is
yes.
interesting.
But
I know who was the one that said the system is me. Who was that again? Was it Harden? He was like, they were like, "What's the system?" And he was like, "The system is me."
Well, that's cap.
Yeah, that's working out really well for him.
Yeah, I know that's the problem.
But I don't know that Bronny is an NBA player, and this is why people listen to
Not
our
yet.
show. They
know.
they want to hear us designers talking about basketball.
and next up,
I do-
politics.
Yes.
So I do love though. I do think I think there's something interesting, especially because like the Knicks haven't had like a stellar like time of it. Like they are at least making the playoffs now, and the Lakers also haven't had a stellar time of it. But that's the power of branding on certain teams, and I guess just like a big city draw, like a
Well, the legacy.
But I mean, I do find the branding aspect of it still very fascinating. It's like, so I know it's like you can still, it's like, it feels like you're wearing a winning franchise, like jersey when you wear it, even though it's even
so
though-
far from the truth in recent memory. But
the legacy
the
shines
legacy,
on.
yeah.
I mean, y'all
It's
won like 3 or 4 years ago. You guys won in the
Yeah,
bubble.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it
You
was
won in the
the
bubble.
But people,
Are we
that's
counting
the
that
attitude
one?
we get.
Are we
This
counting
is
that
the
one?
attitude we get.
Absolutely.
This is why I
Absolutely.
tentatively say I counted. Of course, everybody had COVID.
100%.
It should be double count.
This is where I'm reminded that Kevin's from Ohio, so he is a LeBron defender.
I love
and
LeBron.
he loves LeBron. And I also love LeBron just because I think he's a great guy, and we're the same age. So I often think we're just two guys.
Isn't that wild?
And I have met him on a handful of times, and he is a very nice guy. So I do I have that experience in my life. But I think he's just does it all. He's just a
Do
winner.
it all.
And I guess my first question: you guys worked with the Lakers recently? What was that like?
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. We did get to work with them. That's the cool thing about like you guys do a lot of work locally in Brooklyn and New York and stuff, and that is the cool thing about
being in a kind of epicenter of a location. Yeah. So they had their 60th anniversary, and so they wanted
50th, I
like
think.
a commemorative poster which it's like, I feel like the merch and is like the gateway drug to a bigger project, hopefully. So yeah, they got us in and we did like this commemorative poster, but it was cool because we're close enough, they invited us to like the practice facility and we saw Josh Hart in the
Whoa.
hallway. And
Jeannie Buss
Whoa.
was in her office. We saw all the Larry O'Brien trophies and everything. It was so cool.
Yeah. And they had like all the rings on this like QVC turntable, like in the front lobby, it was just like turning around. I was like, ah.
That's the dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
As someone who loves sports and grew up, sort of huge Knicks and Mets fan, like that's my absolute number one dream client is to work
100%.
for any one of my favorite sports teams.
Yes.
That would
It-
be incredible.
For sure. It's like, it's so part of the cultural consciousness. It's just like anything that touches that many people and brings joy to that many people in this tiny little way, to me, is like those are that's the best feeling.
So I have a question. You guys grew up in Syracuse?
We grew up everywhere. We were born
Okay.
in California, did some time in Wisconsin, Syracuse for like 5 years, and then 7 years in Kentucky, and then back to California. So I feel like we have some like
Whoa.
random sports like allegiances. Like we were big
Mhm.
Derek Jeter fans. We were big, Carmelo Anthony and the Cuse,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. But yeah.
I feel like every story anyone tells, I'm like, well, when I grew up and it keeps changing, or they're like, I'm from wherever. I'm like, me too. They're like, no, you said you were from there, and I don't like that you're lying
There's going to be a variety article where everyone like tears us apart for lying about
where we're
past.
from. But yeah, I feel like we're from enough places to where it is helpful though for when you meet with clients. I feel like if you're from enough places in the country, it's like you can kind of like vibe with any client. You know what I mean?
You're like me too. We're both from upstate
Yeah.
New York. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Where did you guys go to high school? I guess that's the big question.
We went to high school in Kentucky and California. So,
Okay.
Greenwood High School, go Gators, and then San Clemente High, which is like the most stunning, like quintessentially California high school. Everything's outdoor,
Amazing.
quad area, had a surf team. They were like number one in the United States. Like,
when we moved there and we realized that,
Yes.
it's like competitive sports, like nobody gave a crap about football. They did kind of, but not really.
Yeah, not
And
really.
everything was like about the surf team. And we were like, is this a movie? This is insane.
And like Ryan Sheckler went to our high school and like filmed his MTV show like on campus. Like it was just so outrageous.
Wow. Yeah,
It's just, like,
Ryan
Clueless.
Sheckler, he was like an
Remember
MTV
Ryan
superstar.
I know,
Yeah.
like what happened to him? I saw
I think it
like
went
a
down. It was sad. I think it was sad,
Oh,
if I
really?
remember right.
That's tragic. I think it's always drugs, right?
Yeah, I think it was drugs. I think he was too rich and too famous and too hot at like 17. Like, I don't think you should be like
No.
that combination on TV. It typically goes bad. But I have family in Dana Point, California, and I spend a lot of time there. And
Oh my gosh, isn't it the best?
it is literally heaven. You're like, what? Like people live in this
It's
world?
insane.
Like people grow up in this? Like as someone that's from New York, like it's almost off-putting, or it's so
Yeah.
different than my constitution.
Also, it's just like so unnerving how like you walk down the road and everyone's just like super hot, and I don't like that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
beautiful,
let's get a
beautiful.
cockeye somewhere. Like I don't know. Like it's just like can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like I don't. That's one thing I don't like about it. I do like North Orange County a little bit better. It's like there's just like we're all much more normal.
Yeah, we're all
We
all
lived in-
standard issue.
We lived in Newport for like 7 years, and it was just like just to be in the middle of something like that was just like everyone you knew was like 1 degree from a reality show. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, it doesn't build a character, I don't think, right? It's just like, yeah, that's what Bronny needs. He needs more
Yes.
grit and character. He just got everything handed to him. He's an LA kid, right? Nepotism at its highest level. Just
Oh
got
my
handed
goodness.
an NBA contract.
I will say he's such a sweet young man though. Like, isn't he? Like,
He just did it to please his father.
Like he's just
crazy.
Yeah.
And to be in the NBA. But
I mean, so much pressure though. I agree. Just like, I like how he's like, I don't want to put that much pressure on him, but I'm going to give him LeBron James Jr. as his name.
I know. It's
We're
crazy.
going to make him play on my basketball team while I'm still playing. He's like, oh, what a dream. I actually feel like this is a nightmare for Bronny.
yes.
I do. I think you're right. I feel bad for the kid.
Nah, he'll be all
I do
right.
too.
So when did you guys, growing up in Kentucky and California and New York, like when did you guys discover design? Like how did you get into design? I think I read that you guys were making t-shirts as kids. What were the t-shirts? What were we selling?
It's what everyone does, right? I mean, I think my first one was for my boyfriend. He was on the football team. And so I made a shirt for him for like a football game. And then all the girls were like, I want one too. And I started like selling them. And I was like, okay, this is profitable, you know?
It's profitable.
Yeah. Like,
It's a good business model. I can
Yeah.
turn graphic design into money.
and then we used to do it when we were young too. Like when we were in elementary school, we had our own like newspaper. We made a school newspaper and like we would make like comics and stuff and we would like distribute it in the hallways. Like we were always trying to start some scheme, you know? I feel like every kid has that thing. And yeah, I'm just like, we just had that blind naivete and that weird confidence that some kids have, you know?
That's important.
we were
You
goofy as
need
shit.
that. You need that like dumb confidence. I
You
don't
do.
think. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
you
really.
do.
People don't talk about that enough. I think you're right.
You do. Like when you guys started at Center, it's like it's never the perfect time. Like I'd like to hear you guys' side of it, but it's just like people are like, "Oh, how'd you start Hoodzpah?" And it's like nobody would hire us. Like that's how that's how we started. You know?
I have a feeling that's not Alex.
No, that's not Alex's
Yeah.
problem at all. No, you guys have like an amazing history. But at the time when we started, it was just like we just didn't have the experience at the time. And sometimes it's never the perfect situation. And I feel like blind confidence comes in handy sometimes.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Like you have to believe in yourself more than you should, I think is probably the lesson. It's like, I think, starting the studio, I felt like I was like, no, I'm going to create the world's greatest design studio. And we're going to just dominate and make amazing stuff. And I was like, yeah, just me and an intern in a closet. I guess you have to have that sort of blind, dumb confidence of belief in that is probably maybe unwarranted for where you're at the time. Yes. But
Totally.
But you guys, we do have that also in common is that I also made T-shirts. They were related to New York Mets, and me and my brother sold them out of the back of my car at Chase Stadium or City Field, and we sold like 3 of them out of like 100 that we made.
This is essentially the Phil Knight story. Like this is the Knight story. Like,
Alex, did you still have any of those shirts?
It's funny. I
Where's
had
the
them in
box?
my last apartment, like 2 apartments ago. I had like a like duffel bag of shirts that say "Frankie says relax" because he was like the relief pitcher.
I
Francisco
love that.
Rodriguez.
But yeah, you should frame that. That's
I
like an
know. Did you
archetypal
lose
piece.
the move? Is this the end of the story?
This is the end of the story. Yeah, no one bought the shirts, and so it's funny. I've actually been quite paralyzed by making more merchandise for sale. You guys,
Same.
I was on your shop. You guys have like a full line of clothing and goods and
Mostly
Hoodzpah
goods.
Inc.
Clothing is the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clothing's the worst. We tried to do a few of those. We only do like basically pre-sale for those because it's like you will always be left with like hundreds of t-shirts on in a garage somewhere
That's
that
right.
nobody wants and you're too embarrassed to give to Goodwill. So it's just like, we don't do merch anymore as much like wearables, but yeah, we love making posters and stuff still. I think it's like it's just fun to make something just for the sake of like creating something, and like I'm always thinking about like little handy things that would be cute, and I don't know, it's like none of it makes enough money to really be worth it like that much.
I was
Like,
going to
compared-
ask. Does it bring in revenue? Asking for a friend.
Yeah,
Not really.
It's like it pays for itself, and it pays for like B who like ships it all and like does all that kind of stuff, which is great. But it's like it's definitely not like lucrative by any means. It's like it's like we should probably be doing client work, but
For the
I
love
think
of the
it is.
game.
It's for the love of the game.
right.
That's right,
Yeah.
Kevin.
And I think some of it's just fun because it's like you never know what it's going to lead to if you take time to do passion stuff. Like I just think about Kelly Anderson all the time. Like she just does the coolest, most like time consuming like things just for the like joy of it. And it's like sometimes you just have to do that and you just have to like, and that's okay,
Yeah.
That's what this podcast is. That's our
a colossal waste of time.
a colossal waste of time.
Yeah,
Not
for the love of the game.
profitable for the love of the game, right?
For the love of the
Exactly.
game.
But I think you guys do a lot of side projects. So do you guys want to talk about some of the other things you guys do, sort of as outside of the Hoodzpah business model that you guys do for fun and freelance and all that kind of like teaching
We
you
have-
guys do as well?
Yeah, we've got teaching. So we do like a course on how to start your own studio, because when we started our own one, we kind of just documented the whole experience, on social like a lot of people do. And I think because we were so underqualified, people were like, well, you figured it out. But tell me how you did it. And so we were like, well, here's how you hack your way through. But we did. We put it together. Like we learned just by like doing it, obviously. And so, and as you know, Alex, that's usually how it happens. You're like, oh, I need to pay that. And oops, I forgot that one. And so
you usually have friends that help you along the way, and like people that are your mentors, but they don't know they're your mentors, but you keep asking them questions and they keep answering. And so
we just like distilled it down into a book to start, and then turned that into a course eventually when the pandemic hit, because we were doing like little workshops and we couldn't do those anymore. So we did the course, and then we did like a visual identity course recently. But yeah, we never really thought we would be teachers, but I think we're just like, we like hanging out, and it's kind of an excuse to like hang out and also like meet other creatives, and you also get paid, which is cool. And it's like a great way to just like meet the creative community as well, and like find great subcontractors. Honestly, we found a lot of great subcontractors.
Yeah, that's really true.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's I love hanging out. Maybe I should be a teacher.
Yes, Kevin.
Kevin, you'd be a favorite teacher for sure. I feel
definitely.
Yeah, we got asked by like, there was this kid locally, Ricardo, and Imperial, and he was like he ended up being our intern. He was like so talented. He's so surpassed us now. It's like crazy. I can't even believe he was our intern. But he invited us to his school, Laguna College of Art and Design, and like he just wanted us to talk about our book because he loved our book so much. And then we gave a little talk to the students, which is like the most humbling thing you can do, is talk to a group of senior college students. Is like, you will just never feel more insecure in your life. But they were so sweet and like just so generous. And the chair there was just like, hey, would you guys like to teach our professional practices class? Like just from that. And I was just like, I wanted to go to Laguna College of Art and Design so bad growing up. So for me, this was like a full circle moment of like, finally it is in some form.
I love that. Isn't it great when you get to a place where you guys like you never thought you'd get to, and then the things that you wanted when you were younger, then you get to be involved in it. Just like it feels so rewarding, I think, in that way, where you're like, man, they would have like never let me into this school when I was trying to get into this school.
100% they didn't. They did not want me. So I think it is one of those things where it's like, I went to community college for like 5 years. I was floundering. I was like, it's like you're working and you're trying to go to school and you're trying to figure out like, okay, I'm not going to be an artist. Like, what am I going to do here? So I think, having that full circle moment was like so cool. And it was just really nice. And then when they asked us to fill out the like the papers to like be on staff or whatever, they're like, and what school did you put your degrees here? And I was like, skip. and then nobody ever asked about it. So I just thought, well, at the school of life, the school.
No one needs to know where you went to college. I was saying this before. I barely know my employees went to college. I know Kevin went to Cincinnati, which he reminds me of. But
but
it
doesn't. One of those
things
as long as you have work experience, it's like, I'm not saying you should just teach it. That's like that woman who like went on. It was like some like Florida governor was giving one of the addresses, and the woman who was supposed to be doing sign language did not know sign language. She was pretending. Do you guys remember this?
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin's chronically online, and I know he would know.
Yeah.
Yes, Kevin is chronically online. It's a disease.
I remember just being like, the nerve to do that, but a lot of people do that. They'll be like international agency, and it's just them in a garage,
fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Multidisciplinary design studio.
Absolutely. We've all seen it, and we all know the red flags.
That's right. Do you guys still sell that book on how to start a design studio? Again, asking for a friend.
Yeah, we do. We're actually rewriting right now. We've been rewriting it for like 3 years because we're trying to keep it updated. But
and then to motivate ourselves, we took the old book down and stopped reordering the printed copies. But now it's like it's been a year.
But
now
it's coming.
It is, and the holiday break we'll get back into writing again.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Yeah, it's so important because I do think there's a lot. When I was starting the studio, there weren't a ton of like books or resources that I could find that were like, here's how to do it. I read Run Studio Run. I don't know if you guys have read that.
I have it right here. Yeah.
Which is a good one, but it's not even really about a design studio. It's about like a naming company.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think there should be more of those kind of things, because I also, like you, tell people when they're like, oh, I don't know, how can I do this? How did you hire people? It's like, if I could do it, you can do it. I promise
That's
you.
what we say all the time.
Just works is the answer. Just sign up for like some sort of payment platform portal, and then just like, it does the work for you. But I think it's really important, because I think to get real for a second, to keep it really real, I think there was a generation of designers that did not encourage and support and champion people, I think, by giving them advice or tools or encouragement. And I feel like that's really important. And I think that's really special that you guys do that and find the time in your very busy schedules working with all sorts of incredible clients like you do to try to help other people get the life that you guys have, which is professional designers.
We definitely experienced that. I think we're about the same age, late 30s. Am I right?
Oh, calling it out. Oh,
No,
is that an assumption?
I turned 40 last month. So
It was my birthday too. Are we both Scorpios?
I'm a Libra,
Oh,
but so I cannot say late 30s, even though I really want to.
Sure you
can.
previously late.
No.
I was
late
just in my
30s.
late 30s,
Yeah.
just about a month ago. So,
But you're
yes,
right.
roughly LeBron
No, but
James
you're
age.
right. Exactly. Let's just say that. That it's like I remember when we first got our design job. First of all, it was through my regular at my coffee shop gave us our first job and he taught us everything and he was like the most amazing person and it was just like he was just a good person.
Shout
But
out.
aside from and I thought that everyone would be like Jason Staggs. Shout out to Jason Staggs.
That's
But
right.
we went to like the AIGA locally and I remember it was just like not inviting. People were very much like cards close to the chest. If you ask questions, they were kind of like figure it out. We all had to kind of a vibe, you know? It was kind of
Exactly.
like and I get it. It's like we've had people definitely reach out to us. I'm sure you have too, where they're just like they just want you to give them their business plan, like handed on a platter. You know, it's like they'll just ask like the most invasive questions.
They're like, what do you charge for your logos? I'm
Yeah.
like, it's first of all, wrong question, but also no.
Yeah. And it's like also it's like we wrote a book, like it's $15. It's just like but I try to answer as many questions as we can because like we asked so many questions and we had so many friends who helped us. And I just know that there was a time when it wasn't as warm and inviting, you know, but now it's like, geez, with like TikTok, it's like we did a course recently. There's like a mid-course survey and somebody was like, I could have found all this info on TikTok. I was like, they're not wrong. They're not wrong, but it's all in one place here. So I don't know.
Yeah, that is true. There are a lot of TikTok designers out there just learning, which again, like I hate to sound like an old guy where I'm like, these kids, they're learning from the internet, but it's true. You can learn that stuff on TikTok.
You can.
Yeah, get
feel
the
like you can learn
undergrad
the
at TikTok
basics.
University.
That's
Masters
right.
on YouTube
Exactly.
University. There you go.
There it is.
Truly, Kevin, you nailed it. There's like, I feel like if you want to get a little more in depth, go onto YouTube. And then, but it's like, to be honest, let's be real. The stuff on TikTok and YouTube is more helpful than a masterclass. The stuff they get in a masterclass is just like somebody telling stories for 4 hours. It's just like Samuel L. Jackson is not teaching you how to act. He's just telling you funny stories about Quentin Tarantino.
You're telling me
That's-
if I take Steph Curry's masterclass, I'm not going to be freaking wet from three?
Putting
You're not
people
gonna be
to
a
sleep,
part of
Kevin.
Splash Bros.
I'm not going to make the NBA.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about topical issues? Kevin, did we think the Klay Thompson thing last night was a little bit much where they were all wearing the hats and they treated him like he was a homecoming of Babe Ruth to
Somebody coming back from the front of World War II or something.
That's what it was like. It was like he
It's
came
gotten
back
so over the top.
from war and cancer. It was like, Jesus Christ. Like he just signed another contract with a different team. Like I get it.
He's done a lot for that city.
I will say, like, I do think somebody was saying, like, if you didn't know his name was Klay Thompson and you looked at his stats from last season, it would have been like incredible and he would have gotten a great deal. But because it's Klay Thompson, like, it just was such a sad ending to his play with the Warriors. So maybe that's why they felt like they had to go like above and beyond. Because
Remember when people used to leave cities and then people would boo them when they came back?
That's what I was
feel
just
like-
saying on a call because we were just talking about this, which is, I was working this bit out before the podcast, but yeah, I think back in the day, I used to boo the opponent when they came back. Listen, I get it.
Soft
It's
fan
nice
base.
to welcome them back with a warm hug and like a sort of like a welcome home video. I think that's fine. But last night, that was too much. That was like.
So Alex wants there to be more of an embracing, like helpful design scene, but he wants sports to go back to cutthroat. We're not friends. No more of this jersey swapping and all that.
That's right,
shit.
exactly.
Like
yeah.
90s Pistons era.
I know, they
Yes,
need-
exactly. Don't help
need
a
to bring
player
back-
down when he's on the ground. You know,
need to bring
that's
back
your
fighting.
opponent. Yeah. There's all this friendly LeBron, best friends with Chris Paul and Carmelo giving hugs before
Oh
the
my
game. No,
gosh.
no,
I do
I'm
kind of
sounding
love
like an
those.
old guy. Yeah.
Oh, did you all watch the Malice in the Palace, like 30
Oh,
for
yes.
30? Oh,
Mhm.
I got
so
to
good.
interview Ron Artest. I used to have my own interview column at a magazine I
Meta
worked
World
at.
Peace?
So I interviewed Meta World Peace. I interviewed Merle Haggard, Buzz Aldrin, all these amazing people.
Matt Barnes.
And we would get these people because we would say like, oh, our magazine has a distribution of 100,000 homes in Southern California. It was a direct mail magazine.
There's coupons.
But we got like amazing gets. And I interviewed Ron Artest. This guy stayed on the phone with me for like an hour and a half. Like you could not get him to. He was the sweetest man.
Aw.
And I just could not believe he was the same person from Malice in the Palace. But like he's done such a 180 in his life. Like he's just such a sweetheart now. I feel like I don't know what he's like coaching women's basketball. Like he's just like I love him. He's the best.
Yeah. That documentary was great too. The Mouse in the House. That was like a Netflix thing, right?
Those 30 for 30s, they're great. I think it was 30
or
for
maybe
30
it was.
or
I think it was.
Yeah.
Do you guys watch a lot of those sports docs? Because I watch every single one of them. Whether I'm
The
interested
Beckham one, I got into
Beckham
soccer
is
because of the
incredible.
Beckham one. I'm like,
Incredible.
I'm like 20 years
They're
too late to
converting
the Beckham.
Americans to soccer still through the Beckham documentary.
Yeah, no, it was true because I didn't know that much about him, which is the best place where you're like, you kind of know that he's a star. Obviously, he's David Beckham, but like all that information about the teams and how the country turned on him, I was like, whoa, this is all pretty crazy.
Again with the booing, and they like booed him when he came. Yeah,
That's what Clay Thompson should have got. No, I'm kidding.
A big round of booing.
But don't you think that it's kind of like totally reflective of like how the culture has shifted? Like now it's very much like everyone has a voice. Like we should all feel seen when we go to these basketball games, you know? But I mean, like, I think it just reflects on like the tone that we all take now, like everywhere, like at the office, and it's filtered all the way down to basketball. So
yeah, participation trophy generation. Kevin,
go off, Alex.
Yeah, exactly. Defend all of Gen Z, Kevin. Everyone gets a trophy, and everyone gets a parade when they come back after they were the second Splash Brother. Great.
I didn't grow up in a participation trophy culture.
Just kidding, Kevin.
I was fighting. I was fighting motherfuckers
He
in
was
the field.
scrapping in the streets.
Yeah.
Another thing I love about Hoodzpah, outside of the name, which I will only say Hoodzpah, which is
I love it.
that's just
Proper.
I
We get
have
so
no
many
choice.
West Coasters that they're like, Hoodzpah. Is it Hoodzpah? They're like, oh my gosh, what?
It's a great name. When did Hoodzpah, the idea, like obviously the Hoodzpah, it makes a lot of sense, but like when did you like this should be the name of our studio?
Honestly, I sometimes I regret it, but it served itself well for like SEO purposes and just things like that. It
Great
feels
word.
like it's us and a Jewish rapper in New York, and that's it. That's the only other person. But when we grew up in Syracuse, everyone used Hoodzpah. Like that was just common vernacular. Like I didn't realize how like regional it was until we named our business that, and then I was like, oh, okay, so there's a learning curve here.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some awkward moments where you're like, so Hoodzpah is a Jewish term, but no,
I never correct. I don't even correct if someone calls me Jen, so I just don't correct.
I like to wait and see how long someone tries to go without saying it. They're just trying to avoid saying the name ever, you know? It's like
it's a great word, and it's got great meaning. And I think it's one of those words that just like is such it's a timeless word, but it's an old timey word, which I think is why like Moxie, right? Every agency, like I remember at Vitamin Water, we used to try to name Moxie, like every flavor, like, oh, let's call it Moxie. And there's like some company that owns the word trademark, and we can never get it. But everyone wants to be called Moxie because it means essentially the same like as Hoodzpah, right? Where it's like courage and
it's like one of those words that Joe Biden would bring out every now and again. Where we're just like, what generation is this from?
So you guys obviously twins. That was another thing that we had to research. I was pretty confident you guys are twins, but I wasn't 100% sure. Have you guys always worked together? Is that something that
I literally thought you were going to say, have you guys always been twins? I don't.
Have you guys always been twins?
When did
you guys?
I wanted to, I was going to ask that.
That's Kevin's question.
Yeah, hand up. So when did you guys become twins?
We do get people all the time. They're like, so when's your birthday? But when's your birthday? Anyway, but yeah, we've always worked together pretty much.
Yeah.
Accidentally. We didn't want to. We tried to have our own personality. It's just really hard when you both have the same talent.
Yeah. But yeah, our mom was always really strict, and we always she would like spank us, or if we like said even like shut up to each other, you know. So we really got along. We became allies early on. And but yeah, I think it's always because we both like to draw. We were always doodling and like drawing stuff at home, or whatever. And she also had the screen time limit, so we had to
we just like one episode of Simpsons a day was like all the pop culture we got.
Nice.
So yeah, it was just always drawing and doodling together. And then she bought us like How Your Kid Can Be a Millionaire. It was like the lemonade stand book or something. It was like how Anyway, she had visions of what we could be, but she gave us this book as a kid, and it was like a kid's book about how to start a business or something.
I
And
don't
it's
remember
weird.
that.
I think it stuck because it was like how to start a lemonade stand, and then like it all correlated to business. She had these
Whoa.
like big visions, and so I
That's
think
crazy.
it like always stuck. We tried to make our own like holiday card
Yeah.
company, and then and we always were trying to like schlep stuff.
We
And
were always trying to do some scheme,
Yeah.
that's for sure. Yeah.
Well, hell yeah,
And I
look at
think
you
it
now.
just-
Yeah.
know.
How
Well-
yeah. Look, you made it. You did it. Yeah.
Family business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lemonade stand has got shit on you guys. You know, you guys.
LeBron and
yeah.
Bronny. Like
Yeah.
it's like,
hey,
LeBron and Bronny. That's right. You guys started, designing, doing, graphic design, sort of training as kids. Just to
Yeah.
get you ready.
Here's a full
Um,
circle idea for you.
Oh,
What about a children's book? How to start. How to start. a
Ooh.
okay,
business.
but no, Kevin, no, it's too. I feel like I've seen too many. Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
Like the designer
Mhm.
to children's book, like Jump
pipeline
has been
Yeah.
too. It's a road well trod.
Jessica
Fair
Hirsch has
enough.
that market cornered.
Oh, she's not out of
yeah.
corner. See, too many people have done it well, and so
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know it is.
Yeah.
And it's so hard that like that's harder than getting into Hollywood is doing kids books. Like,
doing books in general
Like,
is just not
truly.
lucrative. Yeah.
yeah, truly.
That's why we self-published ours, and like we probably make better money, even
We
though we
make
don't
really
sell
good
as
money.
many. We make better money probably than a lot of like good, well-published authors.
Yeah.
Because we don't share it with the publisher. We just, DIY it with
That's
the printer
right.
up the,
Nice.
the road or whatever.
yeah.
Hell yeah. So as a duo, how did you guys break down your kind of roles? Do you guys do sort of the same thing? You guys have sort of different positions you guys inhabit at Hoodzpah?
I feel like, the more we grow, the more we're like getting comfortable with our roles. I think at first you're like, don't pigeonhole me. I can do that, and all that kind of stuff. And the
Classic.
sisterly thing can kind of get in the way. But I think now we really know like our strengths and weaknesses. And that's the only way you can grow is if you kind of like understand like your strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, I think we've definitely been embracing that more. Like Jen's definitely like the strategic mind. I'm helpful too, but like I'm not good with my words. So it's like Jen does most of the talking in the meetings. And then I just kind of pitch in with like hype guy stuff. I'm like Ronnie Turioff on the sidelines, just like getting everybody stoked. And
What a reference.
and apparently it's Roni Turioff. I just can't get myself to say it right. But yeah, I think Jen's really good at the strategy side, and then I love doing just like a lot of execution. I do a lot of our type side, although you've gotten into that recently
Yeah,
too.
but you do more of the custom type, and but yeah, we both do like the logo work, and we still both do creative. It's just and then you run all the social and promotion and like that kind of stuff. But
yeah, trying to divide and conquer as much as we can, and then like when like the bigger projects come along where it's like we have to have all hands on deck though, and it's like we get the big brain trust of everybody, and everybody kind of pitches in, and we get our subs and everybody, and yeah, it's
we're a
nice.
flex studio like that where we'll sub in a lot of people as we need them, but we're like really small. I mean, there's only 4 of us.
You guys are
and-
behemoth compared to us.
Yeah, and
we are 9. So yeah.
massive,
Huge. Yeah. But so you guys have 2 employees. So if I'm kind of doing my math correctly, there's
Yep.
2 of you, and then there's 2 employees making 4. When did you guys decide that you were like, hey, we're gonna start to like build out a team, or at least have some full-time people that support you guys?
Yeah.
It's the typical thing.
That
You
in
just
the
get
book?
too. You just get too. Yeah. We pretty much just got too busy, and we were just like, all right, let's just keep. And we wanted to keep taking it on, so we just kept. We subbed some people as long as it made sense, and then we got an intern, and then the intern turned into our first employee, Arturo, who's still with us, and he's amazing. And he does a lot of our like retainer projects. So he like, that's all he does almost. And then B is more of our office admin, and we started teaching her the family business. So we're training her as a designer, illustrator, and so she's helping us with some more like production style stuff. But like we still do all of our own quoting. We don't have project managers. We do all our own project managing. Like we kind of just, it's like we kind of just do it from start to finish, everything else. So
Damn. Impressive. You guys really do it all. So so you do I just heard PR, social, strategy, design, accounting.
I know
we don't do accounting.
We are trying to outsource
Okay.
more and more. Like we're offloading as much as we can, and we're trying to like, Yeah, I mean, we've thought about growing even bigger and too, but it's just so nice per project, especially with brand identity, to be able to like pick the best person for each project. So it's like I feel like we have a really solid team of 4, and then like per project as we need, and like we basically have a 5th member in Ethan Silva. He's like our motion guy. But yeah, it's so nice being small, honestly. And
We tried to grow, and then we were like, oh, and then we have to keep regular hours.
Yeah.
And then and then we pretty much just took it back, and now everybody works remote,
yeah, it's
and
nice.
we all just like do our own time, like, and as
Everyone
long as
in
we get it done, we
yeah,
get
everyone
it
in
done.
California is basically like, work to live. So it's kind of just like, and,
Right
and everyone
on.
has that
This
mentality.
California
Right on.
lifestyle, it
Ugh.
really rubs me the wrong
Yeah.
way. This
I
whole,
know.
living,
It's offensive
working
as
to
a New Yorker.
live. Ugh, gross.
Disgusting.
What about the hustle?
Yeah.
What about the grind? Come on.
But honestly,
Sounds
Alex,
pretty
that's why
sweet.
we get fractionally by, because we lived in New York and Kentucky, both hard work ethic kind of,
That's right.
Yeah.
centers. So it's
Mhm.
like just that little bit of extra that we put in just makes us soar above all the
That's right.
Californians.
You're doing
For any Californians
circles
listening, I'm
around
sorry.
these
Yeah.
lazy Californians that are
They're
out
out surfing.
surfing. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we're chugging away. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And do you guys feel like a desire or pressure to like want to make it bigger? Because I think that's something that I think about a lot. I get asked a lot. People are like, "Do you want to expand? Do you want to?" And I've really wrestled with this a lot, because as a designer who sometimes has irrational confidence, it's like, "Oh man, maybe I could, build out an army of center west and center east
We'll
and
be the
center
next
south,
Collins.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and then I'll just, we could take over other design studios, and just."
Gobble up. I know.
And then in practice, though, for me, I have found it's much better to stay small, and
Yeah.
and it's just more fun that way. But do you guys feel that pressure or that sort of push and pull?
I'm with you. I agree. Like
Yeah.
we did at first, we tried to grow, and it was kind of earlier on when we were way less equipped and prepared and knowledgeable. And we just became managers. We weren't doing the creative anymore. And we just, I don't know, like we probably could have figured it out better, but I'm with
We
you.
just didn't
I
want
don't,
to.
yeah, I don't think it's like after like, I don't think it's right for us. And we were
Yeah.
just like, we could still get the choice projects if we just focus on the quality, even if it's less. And I think that's, we're also,
Well, we actually
blessed.
talked to mutual friend of the pod, Mackie Saturday. We were talking with him,
Ooh.
Shout out to Maggie.
and we were shout out to Mackie. And he's one of those people who's a mentor that didn't know he was a mentor. I just kept asking him things, and he just kept telling me, and I was like, and he gave me so much great advice. But I was asking him about growing. I was like, oh yeah, we have to get bigger so we can get a bigger name. He's like, why? I was like, and I literally didn't have an answer. And he was like, he was working with Saggy, Haviv, and Geismar, Haviv, Saggy.
Yep.
He was working with them at the time, and he
It
was
goes
just
something like that.
yeah, and he was saying like, we have like we're a small team and we do all those big projects that you want to do. It's like you just really need the reputation, and you just need to prove yourself like on a few projects, And I was like, that is so
And
smart.
it's kind of crazy that now this is a world and an economy where the smaller
Yeah.
studios are actually thriving. And it's like all of the people who have worked with the big agencies are disillusioned and
the
like,
pendulum swing
Yes.
is definitely swung.
and they're like overpaying the bloat. It's like, it's no longer like the cool thing to tout how much you paid. Now it's like, we're being smart and we're being strategic, and we don't need the song and dance, but we still want the quality work, So, which
Yeah,
is
it's
good.
kind of the dream for you guys to be small, but also to have, Disney, Adobe, these type of big clients, because then you could basically, do the dream projects. And I imagine a lot of these are for you guys. Like,
Yeah.
something I always love where you guys post the sort of Disney film titles. Like, can you talk about sort of some of those, kind of how that happened? Because I would imagine for a lot of people out there, that's like, that is the New York Knicks of
I know.
design opportunities.
And in the same way, it's kind of like, how everyone dreams about doing sports branding, and it's like no shade to
Yes.
sports branding, but it's like it doesn't pay what you think it does. Like that, just get that out of the way right off
Yeah.
the bat. Like it doesn't pay what you think it does. And there's a lot of people that go into making a movie, and it's like I think people hear like dollar signs when they hear like sports, hospitality, and entertainment, and all of those industries are notoriously like not. It's not just like raking in the dollars. So I think that's like the first thing. But it's like the work is so fun. It's so rewarding. It's like, it's like you don't do it for that for sure. But and it's also
It's
like,
not like it pays terrible.
it doesn't pay terrible.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like it's not I think people think it's like you're just raking it in, But
yeah, they hear Disney and you're like, oh, you got
yeah.
that Disney money,
Yeah.
Chutzpah,
Yeah.
of course.
It's like,
you guys.
unfortunately, that all went to Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson. And it's not very trickle down,
Yeah.
I read somewhere you guys make $12 million a film. Is that true?
that right? Is that
Have you guys ever looked up those sites where they like estimate your net worth? And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, no, this is so wrong. Yeah, they have like Dun and Bradstreet or whatever those
Chutzpah
things.
net
Yeah.
worth. Yeah.
Like,
Chutzpah,
yeah.
Imagine they had that for graphic designers. That would
Oh
be,
my
And when I say it's wrong, we make more than what they said.
that's right.
No,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
We don't
First
at
they
all,
go to the
actually.
logo designers and then to the actresses and actors.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that.
But yeah,
But
the
that's-
Disney stuff is so fun. Like
Oh,
it's
it's so
honestly just like being a kid. You know, when you used to be a kid and you get be given like a report and you had to like design the cover of it or something, and it's like all very thematic and very straightforward. It's like this movie's about a red panda, and this
Mhm.
movie's about a and it's like, and you have to integrate a red panda into it. It's like I love how straightforward it is, and there's
and
not
it's just like as creative as you can get, sort of, like it's
the more is
Yeah.
welcomed there.
yeah, and we definitely thrive for that. I think it's so fun. Yeah. Whenever we can do it, we say yes, like anytime they'll let us do it. So it's a blast. But I mean, it's just like with everything right now, like that industry is definitely like it's definitely like shrinking in
Mhm.
projects. So it's like that slowed down a lot for us. We used to do tons of that stuff, and that's slowed down for us a lot just because the industry has slowed down a lot. So
Yeah.
it is nice having like just being in a lot of different industries. That's the cool thing about being like a freelancer or a small studio is it's like so easy to pivot because you don't have all your eggs in one basket. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I think of you guys, I don't think of necessarily a particular industry or vertical, which I think is
Mhm.
just a credit to your work and how diverse it is and how it's good design. It doesn't really matter. But I imagine some of those Disney projects, like I always say this here, it's like the secret is I would do it for free. Even though
I know,
like
right?
I don't tell people that. Like actually sometimes I do. Like we were on a call with A24, a shout out to A24.
Yes.
And I was like,
Wow.
I don't want to tell you this because then you guys are going to expect this, but like I would do basically anything you guys want to do, and I don't think it's not about the money. I don't care. Like, and
Do
it's
you
just
think
because
that's
I
ever-
like, yeah,
It's genuinely true, but we said that one time in a meeting, and I know it made
Backfired.
it awkward. It made it awkward, and I remember being like,
have
"Shit."
some self-respect.
Getting off.
Yeah.
Yes, truly, because it's kind of like, especially I feel like out here, it's like you're not
Mhm.
supposed to care, and it's just
Yeah.
like I don't know. It's
You were
so
too overeager.
we were too overeager. I remember getting off that call. I think this every time now. I'm like, we lost the project. Like, and then they'll call 2 weeks later. They're like, you got it. So I'm not a
Well,
good read.
Do you think you'll get the A24?
Spoiler: we didn't get the A24 show.
Oh.
Maybe
should
we're
be
too
playing hard to
overeager.
get? Yeah. should
Well,
we?
okay, but do you all do the follow-up where it's like, can you tell us why
Hey.
you didn't go with
Oh
you?
no, too thin skin for that. Never. I couldn't
Yeah,
be like,
me
hey, tell me
too.
what's wrong with me. Actually,
Yeah. Let's do
Can
a
you point-
post-mortem.
Can you point out my flaws?
Yeah.
No, I'm too too sensitive for that kind of stuff. But people do that. They like to know. Often friends of mine that run studios are like, do you know who you go up against? And I was like, I don't want to know that kind of stuff. Like I don't want to know.
Right.
Like I don't care. Like honestly, like there's enough work out here,
Work
I
to
think,
go
for
around,
all of
yeah.
us. And I don't really see it as competitive like that, except for the Creative Boom top 25 design studios.
Yeah, we don't care. We don't care about that.
We don't care about that.
Obviously.
Again, we don't care about that. We
like
just
so
don't.
care about that.
We
It's,
Stop bringing it up, you guys.
Yeah.
Stop breaking it
Yeah,
up,
you got-
guys. I
you
get
gotta
it.
stop
We were
bringing it up.
yeah, you guys were number 6. We get it. Like it's very cool of you. I forget. Oh, is it Amon Ra St. Brown? He can list the top like 50 players that were picked before him in the NFL draft.
Oh my, that's incredible.
Yeah,
It
that's
just
going to be
do
me
that.
in the
drove
Creative
him.
Boom list. I'm like number 1 Pentagram, number 2 Porter Rocha.
You got the first two.
I don't know number 3. Let me
Don't
look
lie.
at
Sure
that.
you
Yeah.
don't.
No, I don't. Number 6 Hoodzpah. No. I don't get competitive, and I think maybe that is a flaw. But
Yeah.
I
No,
often,
I think that's right.
yeah, I think it is too. But then sometimes I really want a job, particularly when
know.
you know it's a good one or you know it's something that's going to
And
be.
you know it would be a good fit, and like they are kind of wondering if you're just a little too small, and you're like, no, trust me, like we could do this, like we could do this.
Yes.
I feel like there's been a few that we've lost out on where I'm just like, we could have done such a good job, but usually if we lose out, I'm usually of the mind that like it just wasn't a good fit. Like if they were kind of doubting it, like you wouldn't want to get that and then just be uphill battle, like fighting them about every decision, So yeah.
That's good coping. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
good. You're like, it wasn't for me, Brooklyn Museum. I get it.
Yeah.
We didn't want that
Fine.
project anyway.
Yeah.
Kevin, bleep that out. No, I think you're right though. I think it's healthy to really want stuff sometimes. Like
Yeah. It's cool
We
to
had a brand
care.
launch called Bureau with Tom Holland.
Incredible.
And
Stunning.
thank you. I wasn't looking for compliments, but keep them coming.
In every
Uh,
way. No, but truly, it
It's
was.
so
It's
gorgeous.
so
I didn't
good.
want to bring it up, but I did bring a
Yeah.
hat just in case. No.
How's Tom? How close are you with Tom? Are you guys doing like summers together in like Ibiza or what's going on?
We've texted 3 times.
What's his number?
And
Say it
he
on
responded
air.
once.
The true test is if he introduces you to Zendaya, then you know like you're
FaceTime him right now.
He did introduce me to Zendaya, which is
That's
a real
incredible.
true story that did happen, and we've already talked about it on the podcast, so I don't want to get
Oh my gosh. I
sound
have
like
to
the
go
guy
back
that just
then.
keeps talking about
No,
the
I have
time
to
that
go
he met
back, don't worry.
Zendaya. But I've come back down to earth. I was, my head, I couldn't even fit in the doorway. I was just floating around because of my time with Zendaya. But that is the reason why I bring up the project is because I really wanted it. Like I was like one of those things where it's like, it's a really cool opportunity. Like,
Yes.
just like we know that like, and like, we just knew that it was going to be something great. And we knew that it was a good fit for us, obviously, as people that do a lot of beverages and just non-alcoholic beer, and just knew that there was an opportunity. And just so, I think it's important to when you do really want something. I've learned that, I think, through that project. And this year, it's like, it's okay to like really try really hard.
And do you think that's what sold it? Like it was that connection, the passion that you showed when you were pitching and stuff or doing the proposal?
I think so. Yeah. I think there was, for the first time in our studio's history, we were like, we really want this. How can we get it?
Yes.
Which I don't think we've ever actually done before.
And did you do anything different than your normal process because you really
I was
wanted
gonna
it?
say, yeah.
So I would not a ton, but one thing that we did, we pitched for it, but which is that they asked us to do that, but and not with design, with just thinking.
Yeah.
Right. Proposal. Right.
Which is like kind of, we did to go above and beyond on that sort of proposal, which was like more of a creative proposal, which is more, it was like strategic, like how we're thinking about the industry and the opportunity, and want to build a brand like Tom that was very handsome and premium and sort of charming and all that kind of stuff. But we did actually spend a little bit of time with the client ahead of that pitch. And like, I think sometimes this is useful information. Sometimes we could be useful as a podcast, Kevin. Is that okay?
Of course.
All the time. We're always useful. Stop
Like,
dogging us.
I think sometimes like someone will ask for a proposal and then we'll just like go away, make it, send it over, and just be like,
Right,
hope we get it, And then you're
Yeah.
like, well, we didn't really form a relationship with the client ahead of
Yeah.
time. So I think for that project, in the sort of like one meeting where we had, we're like, how can we get this? Which I don't think we typically do. We're like, okay, maybe if we build a relationship with the people that are ultimately going to be part of making the decision, and that way it'll be harder for them to say no.
Yeah.
So you just invited yourself over for brunch at Tom's house. Like we need to get to know you to pick this.
Yeah, we need to spend a lot of time with Tom. But no, I think that was something that we had a previous relationship with one of the people that was involved. It wasn't not Tom, but and I think we were like, okay, maybe we can get on a call and ask you questions about the proposal, and then maybe get on another call and like walk you through the proposal, and then
Yeah.
maybe the pitch deck we could share you ahead of time, just like more interactions.
Yes.
And I think
Yeah,
that
that's great.
helped us, and I think it's good, useful tip. Maybe.
Yeah,
That's great.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I know it's like we teach a visual identity course and a business course, and everyone's always asking like, how do you get work? How do you land work? And all that kind of stuff. And it's easy. It's hard because it's like at first you really need to show your worth and you need to convince people to pay you properly, and you're really trying to get up to that level. But then at a certain level, it's like you have to stop thinking about like that's over budget or like that's not in the scope or something. I feel like sometimes it's just good for the project and you just do it because it's good for the project. And it's like other projects will kind of like fill that in, and you have income coming from elsewhere. I'm not saying like you're going to go into debt or anything over it, but I'm just saying like sometimes you're not nickel and diming and doing change orders because you just know that this is going to be good and you just want to.
And you're putting a lot in up front
Yes.
before the payment even comes to
Yeah.
just, yeah.
I talk about this all the time. Like a lot of the work that you see behind me are projects that we did at a somewhat discounted rate because we knew they were going to be good for our studio. Point
huge.
blank, period.
Yes.
And thinking of it in
Yeah.
that way is so important because it's all, getting your name out there and proving
Yeah.
your value, and also just building a portfolio, and also
Yep.
being a part of cool brands. Like, I think that's something that really matters when you are building a studio. And sometimes you don't need to be the money will come and go for the project. And I hate to say it like that, but it's like the portfolio piece lives forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And especially people like I have so many friends I want to refer that are like crazy talented. Their work is nowhere. And I'm like, if you didn't do the case study, like it didn't happen. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I don't know. And it's just like being able to show work that you've done and like even like people are like, how do I get them to pay for like photo shoots of work at the end? I'm like, foot the bill yourself until you have clients that will do it because that makes such a huge difference in like how you show off what you've done. Like
Mhm.
at a certain point, you have to say like, this is my marketing budget and I'm investing in me and I'm investing in this client also. And it's like, and then they're like, well, how do I get the client to pay for it after? It's like, no, just give it to the client at that point. It's like,
Yeah.
just be for the client. And then when they do their next bigger thing or when they refer you to their friend that's doing the bigger thing, like it comes back. I think it's really easy to try to nickel and dime everything. And it's like, what happened to customer service? You know?
Damn, what happened to customer service? We're in the service industry, Kevin.
I'm
we
like
gotta
really
service
bitter.
these people.
I'm really bitter because I have gone through like 3 pool guys at this point, and like I'm just like everybody's telling me different things, and I'm just like, what happened to customer service? Like I don't know who to trust
Customer
anymore.
Service.
And
That's the name of the
that
episode,
is-
Kevin. What happened to customer service with Hoodzpah?
Walked in.
You
Lock it in.
sound so out of touch. You sound so out of touch.
I know I'm renting. It's part of the rental.
No, it's so important. Actually, I think we're doing this right now at the moment. Right now, we are working both on case study materials that we're just going to send to the client so they can have them for free, not getting paid for them, and then also on our friend Bureau, we did a photo shoot just in our studio. We rented a studio across the hallway.
Oh,
We
that's
got a bunch of
amazing.
lights and shot
Yes.
one of the main images of our case study because we wanted it. Period.
And I think that sometimes is like
And it's
the
everywhere.
client is. It can be very hard to convince a client that something is worthwhile. Sometimes if
Yeah.
they're not familiar with it, and photo shoots are a big one I found anyway.
Mhm.
Motion can be a big one. They just kind of think like it's extraneous.
Yeah.
And
it's just- yeah.
and for those things where we just know it will make a big difference, what we'll do is we'll put on the proposal our gift to you. They'll have cut it out of the scope, and we'll say our gift to you. Please go with us. We want to do this. We think it'll make a big difference. So much so that we want to gift it to you. And people freaking love the our gift to you. I'll tell you what, in our proposals, and it's
Gift with purchase.
yeah, it's like the free. It's like Sephora insider points. It's like.
Yeah,
But
Sephora
it's really
VIPs.
That's
Yeah.
40 chess right there.
Yeah, that is 40 chess. I like this because what we do is we just foot the bill for it, and then we don't even it's a surprise and delight moment.
But
But they're
that-
not even that delighted. They're more surprised. So I think you're right. And I think it's probably better to say, hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna pay for it, or maybe it's work we're gonna do that you should pay us for, but we're not going to charge you. So therefore, it makes them feel better, and also you get credit for the fact that you had to do it.
You
I
kind
know,
of get
it's one
some
of those
points
awkward
early
things.
on. Yeah, for it.
I know people like in our course, we had people doing they're doing like kind of like fake projects, which I feel like now have become so, you see them so often that it's like, to me, if I see a real project out in the wild, it's so much more impactful to me because they had a real client, somebody who said yes, somebody who said no. So I told all these students, they're like, well, how do we present these to the people we're doing it for, even though because they didn't ask for it? And how do I get them to pay for it if they like it? And I'm like, just get it to them. Like, I don't know how to say this, but like having real work in your portfolio that got made, they still have to change all the signage, all the trucks, all
And
the
they
pizza
didn't ask
boxes.
for it.
And they didn't ask you
Yeah.
to do this. So like if they want it and if they're willing to like make it a reality, like to me, just give it to them. And everyone was so pissed off. And Joe was like, well, here's a way that you can ask them to pay for it. But I really do believe that like if you can get real work made, that is so much more valuable. And that proves to the future people coming to your site what you can do, as opposed to just mock-ups that everyone now know and can see from like a mile away.
Let's go back to the work. One of my favorite projects is SeatGeek that you guys did. I remember when that came out, and as someone that does like sports and goes to lots of events and was a StubHub kind of guy, I don't remember what the brand looked like, but I remember it was a pretty massive overhaul. Like it was not like a refresh, as they say now. It was a full-on rebrand where new identity, new colors, new everything, new feeling. And I thought it was really well done. So congrats on that. And just curious, like what was that process like? What was that sort of project like for you guys as a small studio doing like one of the like big overhaul rebrands? And we haven't actually done that either.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was probably one of our bigger opportunities that opened up a lot of doors for us. But we actually got brought in
from the Disney work that we do because we did so many title treatments. Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah, they had referenced some of that, I think.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
But we got brought in actually in the middle. We didn't do the whole thing. So
Oh, okay.
Mother did the
Who does great work.
strategy and a lot of the like the color type. but for whatever reason, everyone just wasn't quite aligning on the actual logo. And so eventually it just kind of gave to that point where it's like, all right, we just need to get like a little bit of fresh perspective in here. And so they just tapped us to, do concepts for just the logo, which was really interesting to be brought into like kind of midway, and see the strategy and be able to work within those confines. So, and then we did that. But another thing where someone would have been like, might have said like, oh, well, if we don't get to do the whole thing, like we can't just come in the middle. We have to do the strategy. We don't understand how to just do a logo. It's like, no, I'll just do your logo. It's SeatGeek, like, so we were like, cool. And, so we did, and luckily, one of the concepts that we, designed got chosen, and so it shipped with the final rollout. And Mickey, who did the illustrations, like we kind of worked at the same time as him, and it all turned out to an amazing portfolio piece. But that was like probably the first, because we had done a lot of work for known brands, but not like the logo or the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was like their campaign or like this sub brand for this event, or it was a lot like Red Bull event type things, like the branding for that kind of stuff, small micro branding. And so that was one of the first things where people, like, you could actually pitch it to other, like when we, went in for a proposal for ILM, like having the SeatGeek logo, like we did this, like was really helpful for them to be like, oh, okay, these aren't just like Yahoos off the street. Like they have done some, reputable work for, even if it was just the logo. I think most people kind of, the logo is kind of what they kind of like think of with the core.
And we ended up getting to do like, and again, it's one of those things where I think our mentor was always really great. He was like, just treat the clients you have really well and it'll lead to more work, And so I think we're always just trying to go the extra mile so that you don't have to land new clients. So they came back, we did a custom typeface, we did all these posters, we're still doing stuff with them. So I think it's one of those
where it did ended up being like almost more visual identity work for them than we ever anticipated just with the logo. So it was a gateway to much more work, even though it came piecemeal.
So important. Another thing that I think young designers, shout out to Kevin,
Kevin, are you listening?
Kevin's generation gets wrong, where something that they don't know. No, I think it's like over delivery is not like, like a bad thing. It shows that you want to go above and beyond a brief, or that you're thinking about the work in different ways, or you have abilities maybe that are outside of the way that they're thinking about you as a design studio. I think another thing that happens to everybody is like you get pigeonholed, right? If you are sort of
big time,
whatever is in your portfolio, people will assume that you can only do that, or their imaginations are, and this happens to us all the time with packaging. They're like, oh, you guys do a lot of great packaging, but could you do a rebrand? It's like, yes, I think, I think we could. Brooklyn Museum. No, I'm kidding. No, but so sometimes you have to prove though, like even when you have 13 years and you're on the Creative Boom Top 25 list, like you need to still like prove that you can do things maybe outside of how people perceive you.
Jen was just
on
saying
just
that
the surface level. Yeah.
Yes, because she was like, I want to make sure that people don't think we only do style, which is, Jen doesn't think we have a style, and then everyone will be like, the Hoodzpah style, and then we'll be like, oh, okay, it is. But she was like, we had been doing some of this other stuff that's like, it's currently under NDA, but she's like wanting to build it out further, and like we're wanting to hire 3D artists and do all this stuff that wasn't asked for because we really want to make sure it looks great. We want to be able to get into those industries, So it's like we're still having those discussions of like we can't get pigeonholed to this now. It's like constantly a pivot and making sure people know like what you're capable of so that you're in the discussions, because I'm just always want to make sure that our name is on the list of people when they want RFPs for like whatever big rebrand it's going to be. Like, I just want to be in the conversation, So whatever way we kind of do that. Yeah.
But I will say the way we've gotten on people's radar has been the most random things.
So random.
Like with ILM, it was like the guy who worked in the press department, the marketing and press department, like one of the, not even the lead guy, one of the other guys, his wife, he told his wife, oh, we might be doing a rebrand. And she had read our book. And so it's like, she told him, you should check out this studio. And then he told, it's like, it wasn't even directly them knowing, it was someone's. And
you just never know what's going to like, it's just like.
You have no clue. And
like,
I imagine people reach out to you guys from all sorts of different places where you guys are very random. Prolific. Like, do you guys find that you get a lot of work through your socials? Like, I feel like you guys have pretty big followings across Instagram, Twitter.
It's kind of places. Yeah, I it's like interesting because it's like it's definitely something that can be a time suck, but you can't think of it that way. It's like I'm not going to go out there and get web banner ads, It's like you just have to think about it as just like brand awareness building kind of. I think and I think people are nowadays. It's like there's always the pendulum swing of like, first it was like everyone has to be on social media, and then it's like we got so overwhelmed with like even your mattress brand has a social media now that's asking you to follow. But I feel like now we're kind of coming back to it again of like, how do you do it right? But I feel like a lot of people are like, I don't want to waste time on making TikToks or reels. And I'm like, you're thinking about it wrong. Like, it should just be fun and just be for brand awareness. And it's like, that does come back to something eventually. Like, it just will. It's like somebody will remember it, somebody will see it, somebody will connect with it, if you're doing it kind of genuinely and like, not begrudgingly.
But yeah, on social Instagram's how we got the work with Red Bull, how we got work with 20th Century Fox, which he then took us over when he went to Disney.
Shout out to Neri Rivas.
That's how we got work with Nike. And so it's like, it totally works.
And just going to conferences. Like, you guys are fun to hang with. I'm sure that you just meet people out. And it's like, when people ask you what you do, like, I feel like everyone's usually so ashamed or like, doesn't want to talk about work. I'm always like, we run a studio, it's Hoodzpah, we do amazing work, like whoever it is. And I think you do have to kind of like, it's like, you just never know who's going to lead to what.
Yeah, no, I think, projects can come from anywhere. And I think you guys are very natural. It seems like online and sort of comfortable, sort of like promoting your work and the things you guys do. And you take pride in that and sharing it with other people. And I think that is another thing that I often like to talk to people. I don't like about, sort of being a shameless self-promoter at times where you're like, hey, it sometimes maybe doesn't feel great to be posting Bureau for the 40th time. And it's just like, sure, you know what? Like, I'm sorry. I didn't, this is not a moment that I'm going to just like post twice and be like, oh, moving on to the next thing. I don't care anymore. It's like, no, it's, I have to shamelessly just keep hammering home. But no, I think it's important because it does lead to work. And we've had many projects that have slid into our DMs. And I think some people that I've spoken to are like, you get projects from DMs? And I'm like,
Instagram?
Good ones. Yeah. Like,
isn't it wild?
So
I'm so fascinated. I'm fascinated. How did you all get the last, like, are you close enough to know like how you got the last 5 jobs, like where they came from? Was it like a personal relationship or was it social or former client?
Yeah, no, I think it's all generally people that found us either on Instagram or someone that I knew that knew someone that we worked with that recommended us. I think you said it before, it's really all about relationships and people that and behind most of the brands are someone that we had either previously worked with or someone that we had, like I had some relationship. Obviously I worked in-house at a beverage company for a very long time. And so there's a lot of people that now work at other companies that are, sort of doing things that often come through, but it's a mixed bag. And sometimes it's like you said, it can come from some of the craziest places. And I think it's sometimes you just don't know. And especially when you're starting, it's like, well,
you really don't. You just have to try everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to look at every opportunity as a potential opportunity to like unlock something else as the next thing. And I think, I don't know, that's such an important part of the beginning of the journey. And I think for you guys, 13 years in, us 6.5, almost getting up there to 7, like it's still something that we are doing to this day. And I think not every project is the same. And sometimes it's just like, do I want to do that? Sometimes the answer is just yes. And I've got to figure out a way
to make it work.
But I'm actually looking.
You have a similar attitude that we do. It's just like every project sounds like the most exciting project. Like that's our problem is we're just like, oh, this sounds amazing. Like, all right, we've already got ideas spinning. We've got the sketchbook out. Like we haven't even done a quote yet. It's just like, and I think, but
I can get excited about almost anything. It is sort of a problem where.
Right. But it's also sort of a superpower. It's definitely a problem, but it's also kind of a superpower just to like, show excitement and just treat the project that you're working on like the biggest project, because then you'll blow it out maybe further than somebody who thinks is just like working against hours or is just like, whatever, the heart's not in it. It's like, you can always tell when the heart's not in it. That's why people love studios like Smith and Diction is like, they're so stoked about every project they post. Like you can feel it through like the screen, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like back to the idea of like doing stuff for the love of the game, right? Like I think I say this a lot. It's like this is not just a job or not just a business for me. This is like what I love to do. This
We're
is
like
also
Aunt
a
Edward.
hobby.
Every game is a blast.
Yeah, exactly. We are the Anthony Edwards
We're the
of
Anthony
graphic
Edwards,
design. Yeah,
if I
yeah, we're
have to
just
say.
yeah, we're just like the Ant-Man, which on that Netflix show, which I highly recommend, he is the most entertaining, the
He's so
best.
funny. I
He's
love him.
I always liked him, but I didn't like I could watch 12 more documentaries about Anthony Edwards.
Oh wow. He's one of those people where they were like, he's the future face of the NBA. And I was like, is he? And then the Olympics
Yes.
happened and I was like, he is. He is. It's him or nobody.
Yes,
Or Joker.
yeah, it's
Joker's
absolutely him.
amazing.
No, watch a documentary and you're like, oh my God, it's not only it's absolutely him, definitively, no questions asked, like he's so charming. There's a scene where he's literally the birth of his first child is happening and he's watching the second half of the Timberwolves game on his phone and he's just
That's
like,
hilarious.
yeah, he's just is such a like he taught love of the game. He just loves it and yeah, I think you could sense that too when people love what they do and people want to work with people like that. And yeah, shout out to Smith and Diction, number 19 on the 25 creative boom list. I'm just kidding.
Who's counting?
I'm not that I'm counting. Not that I'm counting. I think they were on there though. They
were for sure on there. Oh, that's so funny.
But no, you guys, it's been really lovely to chat. I feel like we could just talk forever because we have so much in common, and I think so much that we see the world similarly, and I think it's so important for the designers out there that do want to start a studio, and I think that's something that I get asked a lot. They're like, how did you do this? Why do I want to start a studio? I want to quit my job in-house. And, I hate my job too. I was like, hold up. I didn't hate my job. I love it.
Whoa. Yeah.
It's actually really hard for me to walk away from. But I think it's a, you can do it too mentality that I think is important. It's actually really beautiful to see. And I think sometimes I think it's the most important thing you can do. Once you get to a chutzpah
it's so rewarding
level, you gotta pass it on and you gotta help other people. And so everything you guys do from books to teaching, all that is really inspiring to me. And thank you for doing it.
Oh, let us know when the Center Visual Identity course is coming. I want to take it.
So it's on Skillshare. Highly recommend. Building brands people love.
Yeah.
Also, passive income. I'd highly recommend if anyone is interested in teaching online classes. It is an absolute thrill. Whether I get paid $2 or $20 each month to just have that show up in the bank account is like, what? I didn't do anything for this money. I taught a class 4 years ago.
Feels amazing.
I know, it almost feels like a trick. Yeah.
It feels amazing.
That's the most rewarding thing. And now I'm
What
on
if
the
it's
Smith
just
and Diction.
Kevin and he's just doing it just to make sure that you still feel loved? He's just like signing
Kevin
up for
was
different
in.
people
Kevin has
every-
a bit of a cameo in the Skillshare class.
Do I really?
Yeah, you're in the video. Remember, I was like fake looking at a board, and like you were.
Oh my
like,
gosh, the B-roll.
Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, taking notes and
Actually, I think I shot some B-roll too.
Did you shoot some B-roll?
I didn't get a credit.
Oh, Kevin, yeah,
What the
sorry.
heck?
Sorry, yeah.
Gotta call your union.
Yeah.
I know.
Get SAG on that.
Have your lawyers reach out to my lawyers, Kevin. You don't want the smoke. You don't want smoke. But thank you
I
guys
want
for
some of that
joining.
passive income.
Yeah. I'll buy one bacon, egg, and cheese a month.
Deal.
Where actually I take that back immediately. Hoodzpah, Amy, Jen, thank you guys. Where can the kids find you at home on the internets for those that maybe do not follow you?
Hoodzpahdesign.com or at hoodzpahdesign on Instagram
And TikTok.
Amazing. Oh, how is the TikTok going? Like what do you guys
I'm embarrassed.
Okay.
I looked back and rewatched it and I regret it all, but it was fun. And you know what? If you're not embarrassed, are you even doing it right? So
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. But here's one thing I think about the TikTok, right? The TikToks.
the TikToks. Here's the thing about the TikTok.
Guys, I'm gonna go because I'm too old to be talking about the TikToks. But there are a lot of designers out there. I won't name names, but they are teaching people the wrong things.
I used one of the hacks the other day and I thought it was a hack. And then I tried to actually like decompose it and expand it. And it was like a nightmare. And I will never use that hack again. So yes.
Yeah, it's that and also like philosophy about design and branding where I'm like, you're actually misinforming people and that's bad. So I think it's great that you guys are out there with.
It's culling the competition, though. I think it's helping us all out. It's like,
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe
Kidding.
yeah. Keep teaching these kids poorly. No, I'm kidding.
no, I really, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, thank you guys so much for all that you do, and yeah. Anything
Thanks
else?
for having us on.
Anything coming up that you guys want to promote or talk about that you guys are particularly
when's the next
excited
album
about?
dropping?
What's on the?
Oh
horizon?
yeah, Jeff, Bad Trifle. Everyone go listen to Bad Trifle. Oh, please don't. But yeah, we're working on a. We said it before it started filming, but we're working on a screenplay together because we're like these Hallmark holiday movies are so
we
bad.
want to try to pitch a movie.
We
that
have to
actually
be
to
able
Hallmark.
to make a better one.
I
that
have
could get-
one connect over there, and I'm like, maybe we can.
At Hallmark?
Mm.
at Hallmark. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. My mom loves
And-
those movies.
Oh my gosh, I watch them every year, and I think they've got 100 of them. One has to be good.
Is
Wow.
it graphic design related? Is it?
She always has
Oh,
to
it
be a
should be a
graphic
creative
designer.
director. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I think you have to stick to she has to be an interior designer and he has to be an architect. Those are,
Mm.
required roles for your leads. But no,
Yeah.
there's nothing new and exciting going on at Hoodzpah right now. We've just wrapped everything up and we're just doing normal
Sweet.
Done for the year? Pack it in.
It's a seasonal business, so no, but we're not. We're just going to be doing normal client work, so nothing
nice.
to check out. But
Yeah.
But
I'm
thanks for
starting
having
to
us on,
punt
Bob.
things to 2025. Feels great. You know,
It's
it's
really-
like
seriously, you're
oh.
like, by the time we get all of our meetings on the books and it's the holidays, we might as well just start in 2025.
Next year.
We would love to do that project, but maybe we just start it next year. Maybe just right after the
Exactly.
holidays. Why start it right before? There's so much going on.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
But thank you guys. Let's be friends forever.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. See you at the next design conference.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Anytime you're in New York, come on by, and
We will.
vice versa. We'll
Oh my gosh, yes.
we'll see you out there.